Welcome into OutKick the show. I am your fearless leader, Clay Travis. I hope all of you are having fantastic Wednesdays. Had to think there for a moment. Wherever you may be across the country, that's right? It's Wednesday. We are inching closer to Snowmageddon here in Nashville. I am back home. I was down in Miami for the national title game. It was an awesome scene. Congratulations to the Indiana Hoosiers for their win. 75% of Hard Rock Stadium was Indiana fans, about 25% Miami fans. Great game. Charlie Becker ultimately big-time plays in the passing game, and then what I think will continue to be an iconic play, certainly for Indiana Hoosier fans, but for everybody out there, for years and years to come, the touchdown run of Fernando Mendoza on fourth down after eschewing the field goal, taking a timeout, putting the offense back out on the field, the quarterback sneak, quarterback draw, the fight that Mendoza had to get into the end zone. I think it's going to continue to echo throughout the ages for college football for a long time to come. Big picture, I was right. Miami belonged in the playoff. The Hurricanes have nothing to hang their heads on. I actually thought Carson Beck had his wide receiver open, threw it late, and underthrew it as well, which led to the final interception. But that was an absolute Donnybrook of a game. Could have gone either way. And I expect that Miami under Mario Cristobal will be in a position for the next several years to always contend for a national championship. I think the U is back. Big picture college football. The Big Ten is now, right now, the best conference in college football. I think you cannot argue against it. Ohio State, Michigan, Indiana, back to back. I guess technically Michigan, Ohio State, Indiana. Those three schools have won 3 straight championships. The SEC did not perform well in the bowl games, didn't perform that well in the playoff. I look at the results and give my roses. For much of the last 20 years, the SEC has been the undisputed king of college football, has had the best results on the field, has had the best results in draftable players, best results in bowl games, best results in head-to-head. For the last 3 years, that hasn't been the case. The Big Ten now is the best team, best conference in college football, and for 3 straight years has had the best team. And let me say this. I think that Indiana's 16-0 Hoosier team is one of the greatest teams we've ever seen in college football. Not as good, personally, as 2019 LSU, but I think what you're going to see in the NIL and transfer portal era is you're going to see more and more talent spread out across the entirety of college football. And as a result, the truly great teams, you're not going to see them be as great as they have been in the past. What I do feel comfortable in is with that increase in parity, more NFL-like in college football, you're not going to see very many 16-0 teams. So the fact that Indiana went out and went 16-0, I think most of your college football champions in the years ahead will have 1 or 2 losses. When you're playing 9 conference games and 1 additional power conference opponent outside of that, plus you're having to win 3 or 4 games in the playoff, I think almost everybody is going to have at least 1 loss. I think a lot of champions, like Ohio State last year, will have more than 1 loss. I think that will become quite common, frankly, in the years ahead. And so I give Indiana all the credit in the world. Further big picture, I think you're going to increasingly hear and see a lot of teams look at what Indiana did, look at what Curt Cignetti did, and they're going to say, did Indiana moneyball college football? What do I mean by that? Indiana primarily focused on production, not potential. Much of college football for generations has been focused on recruiting elite talent, 17, 18-year-olds, bringing them into your program, developing them for multiple years, and having that factory-like procession, became a trend, for instance, with Nick Saban. Alabama doesn't rebuild, they reload. That's because they had a next man up mentality because they always had more 4 and 5 stars in the football factory. And everybody tried to copy Alabama. The problem is there's only so much talent. And there's only so much talent that can be developed. And there used to be a great deal of restriction when it came to transfer. And there used to be a great deal of restriction when it came to paying legally players. I think what you're going to see is now everybody saw what Cignetti did, and they're going to say, wait a minute, is it actually smarter to go after production, players that you know are really good now, and spend your NIL money that way, as opposed to going and buying a lot of 4 and 5 star talent that's going to take multiple years to develop, and by the time it develops, it may not be on your team at all. I think Cignetti exploited a flaw in the system. Go look at the recruiting classes of Indiana. They weren't that good. Go look at the overall young talent on Indiana. Much of the success of Indiana was transfer portal related. And I think Cignetti, smart guy that he is, saw a competitive inefficiency. That is, a lot of teams out there were still allocating their resources to 18-year-old, 17-year-old athletes. Think about it. How many 18-year-olds come into college football and really dominate? Almost none. Jeremiah Smith, Ryan Williams last year, and they tend to be at certain positions. Wide receiver, where speed matters more than strength and matters more than physical ability. There's not that many, frankly, true freshman linebackers who come in and dominate. There's not that many true freshman offensive or defensive linemen who come in and dominate. Sometimes a true freshman quarterback can come in and be ahead of the game, but to a large extent, maybe a corner, maybe a wide receiver, somebody who is more developed physically and where speed matters more is probably where you're going to see more success at 17 and 18-year-olds. And you can't really build a team around those guys. They're just going to be supplements. And I think what Cignetti saw is the value is in actually looking at production, not potential. And so the story to me of 2016 Indiana is one of production, not potential. And I think there's going to be a lot of people who copy it. Let me play this for you. I was on the field Monday night. Congrats, Dan Dockich, big Indiana fan. Got to watch the game with him. He was super excited about how the game went on, as you would well imagine, for Indiana, which is one of the greatest stories in the history of college sports. And I'll be talking about that on the OutKick show, which will air at 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Central on FS1. But I interviewed Secretary of State Marco Rubio on the field before the game. Here is what Secretary Rubio told me. Watch.
So you and I and everybody here, monster college football fans, your son plays for the University of Florida, scored in the bowl game a year ago. I'll ask you about that in a sec, but for you, what is it like to watch your son play major college football like this?
You know, it's good, man. I've always felt like football, when it contributes to your life, look, if you learn how to show up on time and do your job, that's 90% of life. And you learn that, and then just to have the opportunity, not just as a fan of the football program at Florida, but to have my son be a part of it. It's a great school. It's very rewarding, and it'll pay dividends long-term for him as well.
Tomorrow we'll talk with Kelly Stewart about the NFL. Okay, so that was college football. Put a bow on it. I'm going to talk about this a little bit on the program tonight with FS1. I think there's a world in which Marco Rubio is the next commissioner of the NFL. Some of you are going to tell me that that is a crazy take, but I think we played the clip, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, where Marco Rubio talked about how much he liked the NFL. This guy is a monster NFL fan. I do legitimately believe that if he decided to step outside of politics, and look, I think there is a strong likelihood that he is going to run alongside of J.D. Vance as vice president. I think he's doing, Marco Rubio, a stellar job as Secretary of State. But I think there is a world where Marco Rubio would be interested in potentially replacing Roger Goodell whenever Roger Goodell decides to step down as the commissioner of the NFL. And if you remember correctly, there's a lot of talk about Condoleezza Rice as the commissioner of the NFL, a former Secretary of State under George W. Bush. I think Marco Rubio could be a viable contender to one day be the commissioner of the NFL. I might be the only person saying that. Everybody else may think I'm crazy. Just kind of put it as a thought bubble in your head. Lots of things going on. I think Roger Goodell is signed for another several years. Obviously, I don't think Marco Rubio is going to leave the Secretary of State's position to become the NFL commissioner. But somewhere down the line, I think it could potentially happen. That was actually a clip of Marco Rubio talking about college football life lessons, values. For those of you out there, I don't have an audio clip in, so I wasn't sure exactly which one we played. But the whole thing is up. You can watch it at Clay Travis on Twitter if you have the opportunity, wherewithal, or interest in so doing. Terry Pegula, I think it's Pegula, is the owner of the Buffalo Bills. He had a blockbuster press conference earlier today where he threw Keon Coleman under the bus, said he made the decision to fire Sean McDermott after what happened in the Denver Broncos game. And as a result, do we have any audio of that or any footage of that? We've got a situation where there have become suddenly 10 NFL head coaching jobs open. And I think this is a direct reality of the fact that there's only a few really good quarterbacks. But it is fascinating to me that if the Bills had won, and they probably should have won that game against the Denver Broncos, we would be talking about Sean McDermott still having a chance to maybe win the Super Bowl instead of being in this position where he is right now. All right, we don't have that clip. I do want to tell you about Prize Picks. It's awesome. You can play it in all 50 states. It's good to be right. Promo code is OutKick. You can get hooked up right now if you go to prizepicks.com. It is nationwide, all 50 states, California, Texas, Georgia, if you're feeling left out. It's a fantastic company. I was in their suite for the national title game. Love these guys. They do a great job, have created an awesome business. All you have to do is go to Prize Picks, use code OutKick, and you get $50 deposited in your account when you play $5. I'll give you another pick tomorrow for Prize Picks. But again, that's prizepicks.com, code OutKick. Download the app, use code OutKick, $50 in credit deposited in your account when you go there today. Greenland. Stock market is surging after yesterday falling in controversy surrounding Greenland. We are rapidly approaching another all-time high. President Trump says that he has a solution potentially coming forward and that there is a framework of a deal. Here is that tweet that you are all seeing right now. I am one of the few people who is actually a lawyer in a United States territory. I am a licensed attorney in the United States Virgin Islands. And a friend of mine sent me this, and I thought it was interesting. When we bought the Virgin Islands, which was in 1917 for $25 million in cash, do you know who we bought it from? Denmark. Do you know what we did as part of the negotiations? We threatened to just take it. The United States insinuated that if Denmark didn't sell the U.S. the islands, it just might go ahead and seize them to prevent Germany from getting to them. It was a bullying tactic, and it worked. Eager to prevent a U.S. military attack, Denmark was a neutral party in World War I. Denmark negotiated a treaty with the U.S. that President Wilson signed on January 16, 1917. On March 31st, 1917, Denmark formally transferred governance over the islands to the U.S., and the U.S. reciprocated by paying Denmark $25 million in gold coins. I think that there is a clear framework here for Greenland becoming a United States territory after being purchased via the votes of 57,000 people who live in Greenland, and Greenland becoming a territory much like the United States Virgin Islands is a territory. Again, I'm a lawyer in the United States Virgin Islands, lawyer in the state of Tennessee, and so I have spent some time looking at territorial law, which is kind of fascinating, frankly, to check out. We've got a lot of stories going on. One of them that is quite profound in my life, my boys are fired up about this, they cannot wait, is the White Death is inching closer and closer to those of us who live in the South, right? In Nashville in particular, we do not get a great deal of snow. In fact, I saw this, the biggest snowfall that has ever occurred in the history of Nashville, 17 inches back in the 1880s. I did my research on this on, let's see, the numbers keep changing. On Saturday, we are now forecast to get between 12 and 14 inches of snow on Saturday, and then an additional 11 to 14 inches on Sunday. So potentially 2 feet, which would be the largest snowfall in the history of mankind for the city of Nashville, at least in recorded history. Now, there's also this fine line of where the ice is going to be. I am your snow czar, not your ice czar. I am not leaving my house from Friday probably until Tuesday. I'm just setting up here. I've got a generator. I'm going to do my shows. But all over the South, there is a major winter storm coming, and the storm is going to spread north too, and it is going to have a substantial impact on things. I'm supposed to be in New York City next Wednesday. I'm actually a little bit nervous that I'm still not going to be able to get to the airport even on Wednesday of next week if we get the snowfall that we are anticipating, because it's going to be so cold for so many different days after this. So we will see exactly how all of this continues to break down. Last thought, by the way. So snow, I'll give you a snow update again tomorrow. As your longtime snow czar, I want to make sure that everybody stays safe, but I do think it's important for you to rank your children based on how much you like them, particularly if you live in the South, and understand who you are willing to sacrifice to the snow as it may become necessary in the days ahead. Hours of great peril are upon us. Never fortunate to have to rank your children, but you may have to do it because I'm not sure with the White Death coming that all of you are going to be able to survive. Also, let's see. I wanted to tell you this whole chaos that's going on. There is an Alabama basketball player who has played for 3 different G League teams, and he is now eligible to play at Alabama according to a judge in Tuscaloosa. And this guy's name, I believe, is Charles Bedico, and Bedico. I'm not sure how you pronounce his last name. He hasn't played in a couple of years. This is crazy. They are saying it's an antitrust violation to allow this guy to continue to not play. He's been played for 3 different G League teams. He entered his name in the NBA draft. He was not drafted. Baylor has currently got a player who was drafted and played in the G League, was part of a trade, and they are saying, hey, this guy is eligible. I'm calling on somebody now. Go sign Luka. Go sign LeBron James. These guys still have their college eligibility based on the standards that are being put forward now. There basically is eligibility for anybody out there. This is laughably absurd. I don't blame the players for trying to cash in. I do blame college sports for allowing this to take place. And I do think that we have to have some semblance of sanity as it pertains to all of this. All right, anything else out there? I've already talked about a lot of this on the Clay and Buck show. Let's see. I think that's it. I appreciate all of you. DBAP unless you need to SBAP. This has been OutKick the show. I will be back tomorrow with Kelly Stewart. We'll give you some NFC and AFC gambling picks. In the meantime, go get signed up for Prize Picks, prizepicks.com, code OutKick. That is prizepicks.com, code OutKick. I will see you tomorrow. Good luck surviving the White Death.